I don't really consider myself old. I'm 35, so I'm not really young, but I wouldn't consider myself old, like maybe on the young side of middle age. And I don't consider myself an incel either. So imagine my horror recently when someone in my comment section called me an old cell. Pretty fucked up, huh? Hey, nobodies, it's me here once again, here with my co-host, Mr. Nobody. I've been referred to here on YouTube as being an incel. I've been referred to as an incel YouTuber, and I gotta say, not a fan. Not a fan of that label being used towards me. I die a little bit on the inside every time I'm referred to as being one, just because I just don't agree with what incels believe at all. I find a lot of their beliefs hideous and I want nothing to do with it. And I'm not referring to all incels. I know that there are a lot of incels out there who are decent guys. They're just frustrated and lonely and they don't get involved with the whole toxicity online. So this video isn't geared towards them. This video is about these petulant, whiny man babies who go on forums, spend hours daily bitching about women, bitching about how life's unfair to them because of the way they look, idolizing assholes like Elliot Rodger and that idiot in Canada who ran over a bunch of people with his van. It's those incels that I'm referring to in this video. It's those that I have an issue with. I'm not a fan, and I really want nothing to do with that. In fact, one of the reasons why I created this channel is because I wanted to prove that not all older guys who are virgins and have never been in a relationship, I wanted to show that not all of us are whiny, petulant man babies who hate women. And because of these incels, guys like me are kind of, we kind of have to deal with that stereotype. And I just want to, show that not all guys are like that who are in that position. I'm just a regular guy, pay my own taxes, pay my own bills, live in my own apartment, work a full-time job. I'm just a regular dude. I just haven't experienced certain romantic things. That's another thing that I think doesn't make me an incel, is that I really don't care about being on my own. I don't care about being in relationships. I just genuinely don't care anymore. And ever since I posted that video about being 35 and never been having a girlfriend before, I've cared even less. Now when I was in my 20s and when I was a teenager, I cared quite a bit. But, ever since I hit 30, and especially since the pandemic, and especially since I posted that video, my give a shits are just down the drain. Because I feel like I've got a pretty good life for myself, I feel like life's pretty good. I honestly can't complain. Life, people experience different things in life. Some people experience some things. Some people don't experience some things. Everyone goes through life at their own pace. So I'm just going to go through life at my own pace. I think another thing that doesn't make me an incel is that I kind of fly in the face of what so many of these incels believe. Because, look, I don't think I'm a particularly good-looking guy. I think I'm geeky looking, I got a gut. I need to lose some weight. Got a double chin here. And as I hear about 80,000 times a day in my comment section, my hairstyle apparently sucks. And by the way, if you're thinking about making a comment in my comment section about how my hairstyle sucks, trust me, I know. I've been told that many, 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 many times. So you're not going to be the first person to make that observation. Anyway, but, even though I don't think I'm particularly good looking, I guess I have features that are considered attractive. I am well over 6 feet tall, and I do have a full head of hair. And I've been told I have a decent jawline. I guess, I don't know, I don't really pay attention to that sort of thing. So I've got these features, I guess, that are supposedly considered really attractive. Hasn't worked out too well for me. But, these incels, they think that, every guy who has these features that I have must be drowning in pussy. And a lot of these incels think that if they, had some of these features that I had, that their life would just change overnight. And I got to tell you from experience, that's just not the case. And a lot of incels, they focus way too much on looks. They think all these women care about are looks. And they think that, if you're not like a 6'4" who, is built like John Cena or something, that you have no chance. And that's just not true at all. That's just not true. And all you got to do is go out in public to know that's not true. I was in Chicago just this past week. I saw the Rolling Stones in Chicago. And I was walking around Chicago going through some of the museums and stuff. And I would see a lot of couples. And, the men in these couples, they all, had different shapes and sizes and ethnicities. I would see guys of all different shapes and sizes and colors with these women. And, some of these women were quite beautiful. And, they would be with these guys who weren't particularly tall or weren't particularly good looking. And I don't see it, It's just saying that women only care about these guys who are like ridiculously good looking and muscular and tall. That's just not true. That's just not true at all. Another thing I find off-putting about incels is that they say some things that I think are kind of weird. They got a lot of really weird slang. Like they like to call women foids. That's a thing with them. That women are foids. I don't get that. It's like, you do know what a foid is, right, incels? You do know what a foid is. A foid is a card that you have to get in order to purchase a firearm. I don't want to enforce any negative stereotypes, but incels, you do realize that you don't have the best reputation when it comes to using firearms, right? You do realize that. So I wouldn't be tossing that term around. Just saying. If I'm an incel, I'm not going to be tossing that term around. And some of the other stuff is just really, strange to me. Like, the whole Chad and Stacy thing, adding maxing to every verb ever. One insult that incels like to use is calling guys oofy doofies. I had someone in my comment section call me an oofy doofy a few days ago. I guess that any guy that's considered silly or something is called an oofy doofy. I don't know. But to me, it was just kind of weird. I wasn't insulted by that. I was just kind of weirded out that someone who I presume is an adult used the term oofy doofy as an insult unironically. It's kind of like if a grown man went up to you and called you a poopy head, but he was serious about it. You wouldn't be insulted. You'd be like, okay, that's kind of strange. That's kind of how I felt about being called an oofy doofy. Oh, and then there's this other group of people online. They call themselves like the blackpill, or they think they're blackpilled. Now, I've looked into that a little bit. To me, it's just an edgier version of being an incel, from what I gather. Like, I don't know if there's any interactivity between these two online communities or whatever. But the whole blackpill thing, I'm not a fan of that either. Just because, mainly, calling yourself blackpilled, that just sounds like something like a edgy teenager would call themselves, but like an edgy teenager from like the last couple of years of the Clinton administration. Like, I don't know, like if you're like 20 years old and under, I get it. But if you're over the age of 20 and you're calling yourself blackpilled or saying that you took the black pill and you're being serious, you should probably do some hardcore reevaluation of your life. Because as a guy who's almost 36, I could not look in the mirror and say that I'm black-pilled with a straight face. In fact, let's just get rid of all these pills altogether because they're all stupid. I know that they're supposed to be like a reference to the Matrix, but why do you want to align yourself with a movie franchise that only has one good movie and 3 really crappy ones? And like I said, I'm not a fan, and I've browsed on some of these incel forums, and it's pretty clear to me why some of these guys can't get women. And it ain't because of their looks. I've seen some fucked up shit on these incel forums, and some of these guys spend way too much time on these forums. Like, I saw a guy who had joined a year ago, and he had 20,000 posts. It was like 20,000 and some odd number, but he had over 20,000 posts. That means, on average, he had to post every half hour, every day for an entire year. Every half hour, every day for an entire year, just going online bitching about women. I mean, seriously, like, don't even touch grass. Just touch anything. Touch anything else besides your mouse and keyboard or your phone screen. Touch anything else. That's just ridiculous to me. How does someone live like that? Like, it's pretty clear. These guys have issues, and it ain't their looks. Also, my pet bird Dusty wants to add his own input. This is what he has to say. Yeah, words of wisdom right there. Anyway, that's all I gotta say in this video. See all you nobodies later.